He will never forgive for this. He would make him pay in full for having the nerve to tarnish the name of their forge dean," shouted as he was being led away by the other workers that this guy had damaged one of their blades. He said their blades could not withstand his strength, so no matter how much money he had, he would not buy anything from them. Protagonist thought that he was acting like a cliched villain. Kale shouted that he would talk to him later, but for now he should shut up. The forgetter actor asked the protagonist if his words were true. MC confirmed that it was all true. Kale stated that he expected a lot from someone who brought him such a gift from an old friend, however he could take this and leave, and they could. That he did not see anything. The protagonist thought, how could a stick be inside a box? Kale said that he should also take this as a reward. Among the blades displayed on the wall, this is one of the best. Take this and leave Horaeus. He unhappy with the gift, or is he embarrassed that he didn't pay anything for this blade? Maybe he wants to pay in gold coins, the protagonist said while unsheathing the blade, that his words had been thoughtless before. Now he understands that his words could have been perceived as an insult, but this is just a misunderstanding. He did not mean to express contempt for the blades that were sold here. He only wanted to say that it was not their blades that were the problem, but simply that no sword could withstand his power. After a Willithy protagonist thought that he had already made the 8th swing of this blade, Kale screamed. He did not even direct mana into the blade, and the sword broke. Could he really overload the sword with his power? After a while, Kali apologized to the protagonist. The forge director said that his grandson Reinhardt had come to him, and he had behaved so terribly that protagonist noted that it was okay. He had been rude to, so he was asking him for forgiveness. MC thought that he lacked sensitivity. He had difficulty understanding the feelings of people around him, so he should pay more attention. Kale asked why I came here. He brought a branch of mistletoe with him. It must be important. The protagonist asked if it was really a branch of mistletoe. Kale asked why he didn't know what he brought himself. The protagonist said that his grandfather told him never to open the box. By the way, are the branches of this tree really that valuable? Kale said that it wasn't about the price. It was considered a sacred item. MC thought that his grandfather must have stolen it. Two the protagonists noted that the item didn't feel like it had enough aura to be considered sacred. Kale said that it hadn't been processed yet, but the branch of mistletoe was an excellent material. If a blade were made from it, this sword would be unrivaled. Years ago, Reinhardt talked about nothing but this, although he refused to make a blade out of it. The protagonist asked, can he make a sword out of it? Now he saw for himself that for some reason he couldn't wield a blade made of metal. No matter how famous the sword was, it would break in his hands before he could make swings. The protagonist thought that after he absorbed the treasure from the seabed years ago, he had lost the ability to wield metal, iron, or alam, mithril. All of them would break as soon as he held them in his hands. Nowadays, it was almost impossible to find a blade that wasn't made of metal. In other words, he couldn't wield his own sword. Kale noted that Ith had the ability to deform metal, just like the beast from the seabed, according to legend. Now he understood why Reinhardt sent him to him with a branch of mistletoe. Its ability would have no effect on a weapon made of this tree. The protagonist shouted, so he will have his own sword. Then he asks this blacksmith to make a blade for him. Kale said that it would not be a problem for him to create such a weapon. The protagonist thought that he had already given up hope that he would ever find his sword. Apparently this was the last gift from his grandfather. After a while, the forge workers stood at the entrance. In confusion, they did not dare to confess everything to the forge director. Emma said that she would tell everything herself, and they should get back to work. The protagonist asked what was the matter. The workers looked so serious. Amy shouted, this is an unrivaled warrior. The protagonist clarified, did he understand correctly that Dean ran away? Amy shouted that she was asking for forgiveness. Fourth, is it was their fault that the forge worker who insulted him ran away? However, they will definitely catch him and mock him, suffer for trying to deceive them. They are very sorry for this. MC thought that they really had let him go. However, such a pretentious apology. Suddenly, he realized that they had taken him for an unrivaled master who had walked around continents. Such people are known for their difficult character, and if they don't like something, they can kill in the spot. However, he is not a master at all. What would his grandfather do in his place? The protagonist said that he does not hold a grudge against them. Amy said that she was grateful for their understanding, and then she asked where he went. After some time, the protagonist was suddenly attacked by mercenaries, who were promised gold. The protagonist that the artifact showed that they were all villains. MC quickly made a series of swings with his weapon. His enemies, the protagonist, thought that this weapon was also good for nothing. Then he took the enemy's weapon and threw it at the mercenary. The protagonist pinned the mercenary boss to the ground and said that it was a good blade. The mercenaries rushed to save their boss, but the protagonist destroyed them with one blow. The surviving mercenaries shouted that they were threatened. If they refused to join them, they would kill their families. The protagonist dealt a crushing blow and left only one mercenary, and he said that if he answered the questions, he would let him go. The mercenary shouted that he did not believe it, he would kill him anyway. The protagonist said that he swears an oath with his sword. MC thought that if a swordsman who made such an oath breaks it, the use of mana will be limited. For a swordmaster, breaking an oath is death. The protagonist said, raising his sword above his head, that he swears by the sword. If the person who appeared before him answers his questions truthfully, he will not harm him. That's enough, right? Who sent them to kill him? The protagonist stabbed the enemy in the leg and asked if he would continue to remain silent. The mercenary shouted that they were hired by a man named Ding. MC noted that this did not surprise him. How exactly did he hire them? The mercenary shouted that there was a large organization in Baral. Phelps find temporary shelter. Ding used his connections in this organization and hired them. The protagonist said, Thethys. Trash also got involved with a criminal gang. He thought that he was all glowing black in the forge, and he thought there must be more to it than just a scam. MC asked where he could find this organization. The mercenary stated, Thethys organization has a lot of secret hideouts. The protagonist noted that he only had to say where they met. Ding the mercenary said that it was at the Ron rest home. That's where he found them. The protagonist noted that it was not far from here. He didn't deceive him in anything, did he? Although it doesn't look like he was lying. MC stated that then Hessel die. The mercenary shouted that he made an oath on the sword. The protagonist said that it was a pity. Buffs on the sword did not work on him ever. Since he ate the peach from Paradery, there was no mana left in his batter. For the restrictions related to the use of mana did not apply to him. The mercenary shouted that he made a promise. Where is his honor? The protagonist noted that a swordsman cannot forget about his honor. However, there is an exception to every rule, and for him the promises he made to the villains can be broken because that issue he was taught. The protagonist dealt a crushing blow to the mercenary, and then he said that he hoped that this word would last longer. The sword could not withstand even swings. He must get a weapon that will not break. In his Ron rest house, no matter how you look at it, is an ordinary hotel from the outside at first glance. It is an ordinary place, but underground passages are hidden. It is a meeting place for ruthless villains and thugs who do not hesitate to kidnap children. Later in Ron's hotel room, Dean shouted that they could not kill even a single swordsman. If he was going to come himself, why did he rely on those idiots? He thought that this man was known to the entire criminal organization Atla. If he sent him on a job, the boss would definitely appreciate him. The former forge worker asked, is he going right now? Atlas henchman asked, why should he do this? Dean shouted, isn't he here to deal with the guy who humiliated him? Atlas henchman said that his duties today are relegated to being a courier. He is not here to take lives. He must get the information he has about the Iron Heart Forge. He hasn't handed over everything yet, right? Dean thought he's not going to kill him once he gives this info. Atlas's minion said he didn't have to worry. He had no orders to kill him. He then said he had what he came for, so was leaving. Dean yelled if he left, who would guard him? Atlas minion yelled that he should shut up. Can he hear it? It's quiet outside. Right at that moment, the kidnapped child asked if he could have panned his eyes. He had already read too. The protagonist removed the child's shackles and said he should be patient for a little while longer. He could fall asleep, and when he woke up he would be in his mother's arms. Atlas minion asked Dean, did he know him? Dean yelled that he was the one who humiliated him. Atlas noted that he was ruthless for his age. Did he kill everyone here? The protagonist asked, is he ruthless? It's not even funny. He feels like the something can be said about him. He dealt with those who boasted about the number of their victims and made those who enjoyed torture suffer, and minor criminals can be shown a little mercy, right? But why should he? They don't even know What mercy is, so he will repay them with boundless evil, the protagonist asked, pointing a sword at the enemy. What sin does he have? Maybe it's enough to just destroy. Destroy him. MC instantly closed the distance and dealt a crushing blow to Ad's henchman, who, before dying, thought that he had folded the blade so quickly that he didn't even notice it. Protagonist said that he shouldn't move, he hadn't finished him off yet, or did he want to die in agony? Then He shouted to Dean that they were finally alone. Sometime later in the Iron Heart Forge, Kale asked, so his former assistant Dean works for Adele's criminal organization. The protagonist said that he found an info chip on him, a means of storing information in ED on the third continent, in order to extract the data. An information output device that meets the requirements of this chip is needed. Kale noted that this info chip is a very old model. The protagonist said that they most likely did this for security purposes. This info chip model was made before mass production, so it will be difficult to find a tablet for this item. Kale asked how they could find out what information the criminal organization wanted to steal. MC noted that it would take time. Kale said that he had no idea. They could be planning against his forge. The protagonist said that first of all they need to remain vigilant. They do not know what the Atlas will do or when it will happen. Kale said that he will be careful, however, until he sorts out his. He will not be able to make a sword for him. The protagonist noted that he did not hint at that. Kale asked, where did this child come from? He can't be his son, right? MC said he rescued him from a criminal den. Can he trust him? No one will believe that. He has no connection to the criminal organization at all. Kale said that he can leave him here. The protagonist was about to leave, but the forge director suddenly asked him to stop. Kale said that he found a secret compartment in the box he brought here with him, and there was a note for him. The protagonist thanked him, and Kale said that he didn't have to do that. He only passed on what was meant for him anyway. The protagonist said that he would send a message for him when he found a device to read the data chip sometime later. At the Ron rest home, Seo shouted, how is this possible? Who was able to deal with Ad's accomplices so effectively? Velino noted that there were no people capable of such things on the central continent. CA asked, did their ally Dothis Narelle said that she didn't know, but it was possible whether it was an ally or not. She felt sorry for the man who didn't know when to stop. CIA said that she was right, he had gone a bit overboard. Nell said that he had dealt with the nasty people, and that wasn't a problem in itself, but he hadn't left anyone alive. Saya asked if he just didn't like small talk. She thought it reminded her of something Nariel said, that they should be glad anyway, that thick criminal organization Etla had enemies other than them. CII said that it would be great if it turned out that the other continents had sent their people. Noral said that it was possible, since the criminal organization had already caused trouble on all the continents. So, maybe there were others who wanted to destroy the organization. Atlas CIA said that they should meet the man anyway. Nariel said that she would try to find out something about him. After some time, at the hotel, the protagonist opened a note which said that if he was reading letter it meant that he had arrived on the central continent, found K there, and guessed to order a mistletoe blade from him. In addition, with a high probability, he had already encountered CA. The protagonist thought, how did he know about this? It was just a coincidence. He continued reading, where it was written that he had fought the criminal organization Atla and Bara. If everything is as he wrote, then Hera will die at the hands of this organization, Atla. The next morning, the protagonist went to the mechanical district. This is a shopping district where they sell exclusively devices invented by the Technogenic Society from third continent. The protagonist thought that he was not feeling well. If he had mana, he would not be so tired. Those with mana do not need much sleep because mana stimulates the brain and the rest of the body, which helps to cope with fatigue, so they do not need much sleep, and drowsiness can be a problem for him after a while. The protagonist, if they had tablets for this info chip, the merchant noted that such models had been out of production for Yerston. The protagonist said that there was only one store left that he hadn't been to yet. He thought maybe he could find either after a while. C and Gnarl came into the same store. CIA said that they were looking for an old model device that would fit a certain info chip. The merchant asked in surprise if the old models had really come back into fashion just recently. A man came to him looking for the same thing, and this guy bought last tablet of this model from him. Saya asked, does that mean he really doesn't have them anymore? Nero whispered that it was unlikely that many people were looking for such an old model. SAA asked in a whisper, did Shirley think it was a person from the Atla organization? Naril noted that this could not be ruled out. They showed follow this buyer. Saa said that she really wanted to see the old version of the tablet. Maybe he would tell her who bought this tablet from him. After a while, the protagonist used the tablet to open the data from the info chip. A window with information about the Iron Heart Forge appeared on the tablet screen. The protagonist thought, as this person data of the Iron Heart employees, he must urgently inform Kale about this. Suddenly Ca turned to him, who said that she finally found him. She thought that it would be him. If he still remembers, they met at the Port McThought. Why did this happen now? Cia asked. Has he already forgotten? The protagonist said that he remembers Herond. Then he thought there must be a bodyguard behind her. Cia said that she was glad about this, otherwise she would have to cry in front of the whole street. However, surprisingly, the further the stranger it gets, why can't she see his fate? Naril thought that now is not the time for this. They have an urgent matter. Ca asked, is he a servant of the Atla organization? Naril thought, is it possible to ask such questions so directly? Well, who would answer such a thing honestly? The protagonist declared that this organization is his enemy. Shop H, the leader of the Atla organization, asked, who do we have here? He was wondering what kind of fish would bite his bait. Could it be the Princess Frammed Second? Continent C shouted, why did the leader of the criminal organization, Atla, come here? Shah noted that they had not seen each other for a long time. It had been a year since they saw each other on the second continent, right? Suddenly ordinary people ran away from them in horror, recognizing them as servants of the Atla organization. Shah said that no one was eager to meet dear guests from the second continent. Narel said that he should stay where he was. Shah asked, weren't they interested in why they came to the central continent? If they did not want to answer, they could continue to remain silent. However, bought this tablet to get to them, right? He suddenly turned his attention to the protagonist and asked, what else should he understand? If he saw correctly, then this tablet was not bought by Thea Princess at all. The protagonist asked, did he use the tablet to track their location? Shah stated that they deliberately planted it in the shop to lure out those who were acting against them. Naril asked, did they build a tracking device into it? Shah noted that thanks to this they were able to catch them. Then he turned to the protagonist and asked how he got this tablet. MC noted that it was an accident. Shah said that this seemed true. Because he was no Tony of the Beastmen, then would he like to take a look at his experiment? A deafening sound was heard, which greatly affected the Beastmen. Shah stated that this was the power of their invention, a means of suppressing the Beastmen. The guards of the Beast King are nothing against this. They will soon fall into a deep sleep, and when they wake up, they will find themselves in an underground prison. Nariel said that she was sorry that Shekel didn't do her duty, said that it was his turn, judging by the fact that he was still on his feet. He really was just a passerby. However, he couldn't let him go that easily. He had to go with them of his own free will. And if they didn't find anything, they would let him go. The protagonist asked if they were going to take him to their hideout. Shu said that they were, but they would only put shackles on him. He wasn't going to touch him in the end. Thanks to his help, they were able to capture the princess from the second continent. The protagonist that these were cold iron shackles, which are made of the strongest metal in this world. They have the ability to suppress mana. This item is worth more than an average-sized mana thea. MC said that he agreed to go with them as a prisoner. After some time in the underground prison, Nariel thought Thatch was cold. Where is she now then? She shouted. Where is the princess now? Are these cold iron shackles? The protagonist asked. Has she finally woken up? C was recently taken away. From here there's no one there, so she may not scream. The guards were called away somewhere, and they have not turned yet. Nariel noticed that he was also wearing shackles. So who was also an enemy of the Atlas organization? The protagonist said that he was simply looking for someone who could make a weapon for him. This sword would be the only one of its kind in the entire world. So he couldn't give up. He would go and destroy all the villains here. Nariel shouted, "What's the matter, Hakaz?" To stop. Does he even understand the situation they in? They're wearing shackles made of cold iron that even the king of beasts couldn't break free from. The protagonist declared as he destroyed the shackles that even cold iron is just metal. He can't be stopped with shackles like that. Nariel asked how he did it. The protagonist said as he freed her, Thatch needed to sit still. It would take a little while. Nariel wondered if she was sleeping. Then she shouted that they were in an iron cage anyway. The protagonist asked as he destroyed the cage, "Was that a problem?" "They need to go there when they came to take C." The footsteps were moving away in this direction. After a while asked if Dean had finally Danya. Good deed before his death, he had finally managed to capture the fortune teller, Moiko, the princess from Thescan continent. Should be happy that thanks to her, he will get a promotion. However, what beautiful eyes she has, he wants to admire them for the rest of his life. Just the thought of it makes him delighted. Saya asked if she could get rid of his eyes. She should try if he liked it so much. Said that she was a very brave princess, however he could notarize even if the boss got angry. CIA shouted that she would repay him for his evil deed. Twice as much show noted that needed to be obedient and not move. Suddenly there was a noise, and he shouted who dared to come. Here the protagonist sent the villain flying with one kick. The protagonist asked, turning to the princess, "Is she okay now?" He will free her. She said that she was very grateful to him for his help, however she was shackled in cold iron shackles, destroyed the shackles with his hands, while the princess stared at her hands in surprise. The protagonist noted that Nariel was waiting for her outside.